Alrighty, my super fam. So, official banner on Nahida and Hu Tao has just arrived, and well, once again, I just have to say that I will happily take another loss in terms of banner prediction. But we actually learned a lot from this, and one thing we can definitely confirm, especially for those of you who think that 4-star on the banner is basically random, is that it's most definitely not going to be the case, because how the 4-star are usually chosen is most of the time based on how long the 4-star hasn't got the rerun yet. However, there are some exceptions, and this time around the exception is definitely Nahida's birthday, the Sub-Zero Festival. And man oh man, did I forget to actually took that into consideration. So yeah, I'm gonna learn from it, because if you look into it, basically Kuki and Xingqiu being here is most definitely favoring Nahida. Obviously Xingqiu is also good for Hu Tao. Kuki can technically be on Hu Tao team sometimes, but you know, in terms of Hyper Bloom teams, Kuki and Xingqiu for Nahida is just an absolutely god tier teams for you guys out there with having this kind of 4-star character on the banner. And of course, I myself have not actually taken Xingqiu and Kuki into consideration before, because well, what you guys know, Xingqiu's character that was already here in 4.5 and Kuki is back in 4.2 kind of long ago, but you know, not as long as some of the 4-star character out there that we had in the prediction videos of ours. But the 4-star are actually geared toward Nahida, which is why they are making their presence here. And since this is Nahida's birthday and it is Sub-Zero Festival, which is situated in Sumeru, the last 4-star character can actually be a 4-star that is coming from Sumeru. And the Sumeru 4-star that hasn't got their rerun in the longest time was actually Farazan. Now obviously, you're not going to be having Farazan on a 5-star banner that doesn't go with her, which makes it Sethos to be the next character that hasn't got his rerun as a 4-star for the longest time, and that makes sense as to why Sethos makes his appearance here. While just basically having a bit of fun, giving you guys a little bit of my thought process again in terms of how Hoyoverse has been choosing 4-star character this time around, and so maybe the next time you guys can actually just sit with me and predict the next banner with a lot more information in mind as to how Hoyoverse actually make the decision. And so while talking about the 4-star character here, we know that they are actually very good, a lot better than Shilonen's banner. So we can kind of already see that Hoyoverse at least respects Nahida to have her a nice birthday, because I don't think I have to discuss much about Kuki and Xingqiu here, because they are basically some of the best 4-star character in the game already. And Sethos, wow, it's more or less just you using him as a preference character. I mean, if you do invest into him, he does do, nice number. Obviously, it does come across that you kind of need his constellation too, which, he's back technically sooner than I can expect for a 4-star character, because the last time he was here was a 4.7 banner. I'm very much sorry to those of you who love Hazel, who hasn't been back since 3.7. So yeah, I guess that is just that. Now, I don't think I have to discuss too much about Nahida and Hu Tao by this point. Nahida is still very much a important Dendro character across any of the account, especially when it comes to Dendro applications, as well as helping your team with, technically a little bit of EM increase if you do have her weapon, or, a bit of sub DPS damage out of that as well. So honestly guys, if you don't have Nahida yet, obviously do consider pulling for her. And as for Hu Tao, I'd say she's a bit of a preference character at this point in time, because it's basically a bit of a competition between Hu Tao and Alekino at this point, and you already know how good of a character Alekino technically is. So Hu Tao here is more or less a preference character, but it's by no means that her power level have dropped. Like, her power level is still basically there after a very long time. She's still able to dish out so much numbers, and of course, if you're using her in the Abyss, you're still going to be able to clear the Abyss perfectly fine. So making your decision to actually pull on this banner or not is one thing, but there are going to be 5.2 5-star character to take into consideration as well, which is definitely something we're going to be discussing in a little bit. Now, before that, let's touch on the weapon banner. But I would say that the 5-star weapon on this banner is actually rather good. You have the combinations of the 1,000 Dreams, as well as Staff of Homa, some of the better 5-star weapons out there, especially Staff SuperaTom is still one of, if not the best overall poem that we have in the game, because you can just fit this on most of the poem character, even for support, and they will still do absolutely perfectly fine, because generally speaking, many of the support character out there do scale with HP, and SuperaTom give you very decent HP increase, which is why it's such a good poem. And so if you're pulling on this banner, you do end up losing to the 1000 Floating Dream. Is actually also a very nice catalyst. Not only is it rather important for your Nahida to have, really nice stat, overall it does give your team a decent number of EM as well. So you can say that it's a support weapon that you can actually just give onto any of the catalyst support character that you may be using on your team comps as well. As for the 4-star, the one that's probably going to be taking the most of your attention is the Fruitful Hook, which is technically the new Claymore here. A rather interesting weapon because it focuses on giving you, a bit more buff towards your plunging damage, which, we actually don't have many plunging character, Claymore especially at this point in time, apart from, Garming, as well as Kinich may be able to use this a bit because after you do plunge, you get more damage increase from your normal charge and plunging damage for like 10 seconds. So overall, kind of a nice additional Claymore if you do pull for it, but I don't think it's going to be that useful overall for most of the account. Other than that, I think only the Favonius and the Dragon's Bane is going to be kind of useful to you, the Lion's Roar as well as the Perceptive Eye. I think I don't remember the name correctly, but overall those two weapons aren't really too good for you to be using overall in the end game. But if you're in the early game, you do get this weapon, it can help you for a bit of a time. So it's, the 4-star options here aren't too bad considering how good of the 5-star banner actually is. So if you're going to be pulling for it, I really do wish you good luck. And we're going to be moving into discussing the most important part, and that's going to be, the future banner of patch 5.2. Now we know that Chescan overall is going to be here, but we don't have concrete information in terms of how and what they are going to be doing. But overall, as long as they are new characters, their pooling value is obviously going to be there. But the problem most likely is going to be coming into the rerun banner, and as rumor has been going around, Lini, Zhongli and Nouvellette may be making their appearance once again. And now if we were to be discussing each of the character, I'd say that Lini, obviously it is more or less going to be a preference character. However, the upside of Lini is that if you invest into Lini, especially if you have his weapon or his C1, especially even if it's C2, he's a character that can speed run very fast. Lini powers is definitely going to be there and is still higher than many of the DPSs that we actually have in the game. He actually can dish out such powerful numbers if you invest into him that it is going to be a worthwhile consideration. But overall, he is still a DPS, so it's something that we still have to consider. And Zhongli, wow, he's been having quite a lot of reruns already, so any of you who love Zhongli and would like to pull for him, I think that you should already able to get Zhongli. However, here's the thing, Zhongli value is shooting back up slightly after Shilonen has come, because Shilonen element is Geo. And so unlike Kazuya in the past where he is an Anemo character, right, many of the time we don't use a double Anemo resonance. However, from Shilonen being a Geo character, having Geo resonance actually benefits many of the time towards your team and towards your DPS character, and Zhongli being a character that can give you very decent support, the combination of Zhongli and Shilonen has been rising back up. So overall, Zhongli value is technically still there, especially once again he gives you a shield, and yes, Zhongli shield ain't gonna be breaking anytime soon. So something for you guys to consider. As for Nouvellette, I probably don't really have to talk much about him. He's still technically, the easiest and the best DPS character we have in the game. We have a lot of very much powerful DPS character out there at this point in time, like Alekino and Mulani can technically rival that of Nouvellette. However, in terms of ease of gameplay, they are nowhere near Nouvellette, which is why Nouvellette overall to be is still some of the best DPS character out there. So obviously, knowing that Nouvellette is probably going to be back is something that you guys really have to very much consider, especially investing into some of the banner of patch 5.1 as well. So I think that's all I have to say regarding this banner, guys. If you do have any questions, leave it down in the comment sections, and I or some other lovely Genshin Impact player will get to you there. Really much wish you good luck if you are pulling on 5.1 banner. If you're new to the channel, guys, don't forget to subscribe. With that, I wish you a super day, and I'll catch you on my next video.